Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. I'm Delirious.
Hello.
Dorothea Delirious is my name today.
That's right. Well, it's better than, what do you call me sometimes?
Dignitas D.
That's right.
What?
When I get very sort of, I can't carry on, everything's doom and gloom.
I see.
And she goes, is this Dignitas D?
Yes. Oh, we could have Kinky Caddy.
I rather like it.
Yes.
Like that?
Yes, let's go for that.
Oh, then. Naughty Natalie.
Definitely naughty Natalie.
Naughty Natalie.
Please don't spread it around.
You look so innocent, darling.
Yeah,
and we know.
Very demure, but they're the ones to watch, you know.
They're
the ones to watch.
Yes.
Yes, the quiet ones. Quiet ones.
Was it somebody once said to you, Debbie, you look like a girl who does or something, but then doesn't? And
Yes, it was Philip Davis, actually. Phil Davis,
yeah.
When he was directing something. And he said this character was very, very, it was in a series called Real Women with Frances Barber and Michelle Collins and Pauline Quirk. I can't remember who else was in it. But I was playing Michelle Collins' sister. And in it, you know, she's sort of like, they were sort of like, Michelle was the sort of racy one. And I was the one that was, you know, tight knickers, as you were. And Phil Collins, I'm going through the whole Phil Davis said to me, I've cast you because you're gorgeous at the time. And he said, most women who look like you don't give it out. So there you go.
Gosh.
That's why he cast me in this part.
You see, it's the same thing about sort of very sort of quiet, demure people being very naughty Natalie. And
well,
that's
true, is it? I was the opposite. I think everybody, got cast as these sweet young things, and I always looked like a girl who absolutely wouldn't, but I might have done.
I think you definitely did.
I do too.
We've had too many to discuss you. No. I look
oh.
Oops.
Yes, but
anyway,
Phil Davis and I actually once had sex in a coffin.
Oh,
in a coffin.
We did.
It's not Halloween anymore, darling.
No, it was in a film version of Oliver Twist, and he was Noah Claypole, and I was Noah Claypole's Roberta, whoever the girl was, with what's it, George C. Scott. It was just ridiculous. It was a big drama series, big thing. And yes, and so we had sex, and he had to push me into a coffin.
Yes.
And that is my relationship with Phil Davis. No wonder he cast me with somebody tight-arsed, considering I don't think anyone has had sex with me in a coffin before.
Charles Dickens did not write this, Debbie.
Anyways, we have a lovely guest today, and she happens to be my cousin. I'm very proud of, and it's the wonderful Francesca Catlow. Hello, beautiful.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys? You're good?
Yeah, very good, thank you. You know, Debbie.
We are so pleased to see you. How are you?
Yeah, really, really well. Very excited about next week.
You're doing so incredibly well, and I want you to tell us about the latest development with your writing, please.
Yeah, so I've been shortlisted for a major literary award, for the Kindle Storyteller Award, which is a celebration of independent authors, and it's a £20,000 prize, and the award ceremony is at the Houses of Parliament on Monday. So,
good luck! Congratulations, both.
And who are the judges?
So you've got Sue Perkins and Baroness Floella Benjamin, as well as some of the Amazon team and other literary experts. So
wonderful.
That's wonderful.
So you're so talented, darling.
Thank you.
And also very proactive, because, you know, I know that you told us last time you were on, which is a long time ago now, how it all started in lockdown when, you know, a bit it runs in the sort of the genes, darling, doesn't it? Because when we're really busy, then we make ourselves even more busy, don't we?
Oh yes, we do like to do that. Yeah. So I'd just given birth to my second child in lockdown, and my husband has seizures every day. So I thought I would make my life more complicated by writing a book. But really, it was this one. You might be able to see it on the shelf. It was my own personal escapism, really, to be up at 4 a.m. and writing about Corfu, because that's where I wanted to be. So while I had my daughter in one arm, I had my phone in the other and wrote the whole manuscript to The Little Blue Door on my mobile phone at like 4 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
See, I'm amazed by that. I'm amazed because every time I've had a baby, I haven't even been able to think. So how did you get your mind to work?
You haven't explained, Paddy, that you've had 7. Paddy's got 7 children.
I don't think I could handle 7 children. It was that thing where obviously, when you're feeding a child, you need to stay awake so that you don't like squish them really or drop them. And really it was my way of also staying awake at night, because if I was doing something, and keeping my mind awake, she was happily feeding in this arm and I had a spare hand, so I had been reading on my Kindle at night, but I didn't have one of those light up ones, so it's like trying to not disturb my husband by turning loads of lights on, and you want the baby to stay asleep. So the next thing is you're looking at your phone, but it's lockdown. Like there wasn't that much going on to like do. You couldn't even like buy this much things or anything. So yeah, write a book. It made sense to me.
That's a wonderful thing to say to women. You can still be creative. You can still think when you have babies.
I think it does open you out to, I think sometimes we're told like, oh, you can't do anything. You have a child now. That's, they're a tiny, tiny baby. You can't achieve anything. Well, that's not true. And it's not, I didn't put her at risk. In fact, I helped her because I was staying awake. So what I was doing was actually beneficial for her. So yeah.
I'm just trying to visualize here how you did that. So if I've got a baby in one arm, hang on the breast, right?
Yeah, boobs out. Okay.
And I've got my other hand.
Got your phone.
I couldn't type like that.
All with my thumb. Like I got a very achy thumb. But
you just did it all with your thumb?
Yeah, that was it. I was literally having to write.
Your right thumb or your left? Your right thumb or your left thumb?
My right hand. So I had her.
Okay, so it's called. You should write your next book should be called My Right Thumb. Not my left foot.
That is a good title, Debbie.
My ex-partner was sometimes quite funny, actually. But what he used to do in 1 hour, didn't he? He would like jump out of the plane, save in 1 hour, because you're seeing it. And then he was just about to get shot, and that would be the end of the program. My ex-boyfriend used to say, if that was me, I would just be in the loo reading a paper for the whole hour.
Seriously? He didn't need a loo break at any point. Like, wow. Okay.
You never saw him eat, did you?
No. No.
Anyway, we digress. We must talk more and more about you, not all these strange things. So a little birdie, a little Wonderbird, has told me that you are very good at manifestation. Can you explain?
Oh, yeah. So I actually think I accidentally manifested becoming an author.
How can you accidentally manifest something?
Well, it's to me, it's also about positive law of attraction. So I think the more you think about something, the more you're drawing it into yourself, whether it's good or bad. So if you're thinking negative thoughts, your negative things always happen. If you think, oh, today's going to be a bad day, do you know what? It's probably going to be a bad day. If you wake up and you think today is going to be a good day, the chances are it's going to be a good day because you're bringing it in. I watched The Secret, which is also a book and an audiobook. So depending on what format you like to consume things, I was watching The Secret, and it was before lockdown. It was like 2019. And it was about law of attraction and all these different things. I remember sitting there watching, I think it was when I was actually pregnant with Genevieve, and I was like, this one guy had like written this book, and it was like, I think it's called like Chicken Soup for the Soul, that book.
Yes.
I remember seeing it on Friends. Chandler was reading it, bless him. thinking about him now.
Yeah.
But I just remember, and he threw it under the sofa, and it just kept going. And like, you know, Friends, the sofa had no back, so it went all the way and hit the door. And I remember thinking, he wrote that book, and he said, you know, he manifested it being really popular. And I thought, wow, I've actually seen that book, I've heard of that book, and it kept playing on my mind. How, you know, and I love books, I love reading, but I think I accidentally focused so much on how impressive this guy, because he got his book on Friends, which was just this random thing. So I think I manifested that becoming an author by just constantly thinking about that element of the program. And then when I'm in lockdown, I was like, do you know what, I can write a book, I would love to do that, let's do that. And then Brilliant. From there, I think, you know, a lot of authors, and there's a lot of groups where people come together and they obviously talk on social media. And they say about like bringing up your high vibrations, thinking about positivity and bringing, you know, all this stuff to you. And, you know, I've sort of done that with the shortlisting of this award. So it's quite cringeworthy in some ways, but I've been going around telling people I'm going to be shortlisted for this award. Like since last year's round, I was like, right, I'm going to enter this. It's simple and free for anyone to do, by the way. So when you publish a book on Amazon between May and September, you just put in a special keyword and you enter your book. So there were thousands and thousands and thousands of entries into this because it's free and easy to do. So to be in the top 5 is quite a tough competition. But I was like, no, I'm just going to do it. So I started believing this was going to happen. And then there was this event in London for an author event, and I was going around there telling people I'm going to be shortlisted for this award. And I even went up to the Amazon table and literally got my book out and was like, this is going to be shortlisted for the award this year, and walked away. Off I went. They were like, we're nothing to do with who picks, but good for you. But I think it's really important to believe in yourself, to believe it's going to happen. I also started writing a gratitude diary. So every day I try and write what I'm grateful for that I have, and what I'm grateful for that I don't have yet, but I believe I'm going to achieve. Within, I think it was within 10 days, I had 2 publishers contact me of just writing, I'm grateful for that. And it hadn't happened yet, but I was pretending like it had. And then I've had, oh my gosh, loads and loads of people coming to me. And it's just from being grateful, positive law of attraction, all of that, just constantly good music that makes you feel good.
But you've also, you see, the one thing about all of this, I'm reading a book about manifestation at the moment. I've read loads of them, but this one, I like this one most because, what's it called, Dee? Can you remember what the book? I can't remember what the book was called that we're reading. But what she does, she talks about all of the, you know, The Secret, all of this lot. But she says everything works a bit, but she has a system that works completely because it's a bit of everything. And whereas The Secret, you know, I mean, zillion bestseller, you just right, you know, think about it and it happens. And as far as I'm concerned, that's not the way to do it, because I could sit here and say, right, I'm going to Edinburgh tomorrow, but I'd have to get up and go there, wouldn't I? Yeah. So what you did was you took action. By taking action, that raises the vibration, and that's why things come to you.
And tell us about, because I know that Caddy and Natalie don't know about your husband. He's an extraordinary man. He's just
he's so wonderful. Yeah, I mean, he's still having seizures, but so he has focal cortical dysplasia. So he has always had a tiny piece of brain in the wrong place, but he didn't start having seizures until he was 21. And it took another more than 10 years to work out why he was having seizures, because they weren't looking in the right place, basically. And it's such a tiny piece of brain matter that's in the wrong place. So it's really hard to find. But obviously that means he's been put on medication after medication after medication. All they've done is actually make him worse. He's had psychosis, Alice in Wonderland syndrome, all sorts of horrible things. And it's actually meant he has more seizures since being on medication. They're just partial seizures instead of grand mal seizures, which is more what you would imagine a seizure to be. So he has partials more than he has grand mals now. So what we're trying to do is get him off medication, which is a very, very slow process. He has to have a liquid now, so he can like adjust every 3 weeks by like the tiniest amount, because your brain gets used to certain chemistry. So you have to be careful, because if you just stop, we've done that before, and that caused really bad psychosis, because no one really told us we couldn't do that. We were very naive back then in our early 20s doing stupid things. So what we're trying to do is go more of a holistic route. He's really good with meditating already, which is great. And that seems to help. He does Reiki. So he's trained in Reiki, and he does Reiki on himself. And that seems to, like, if he's having a few partials at night, I'm like, right, do some Reiki. And honestly, he just gets so much better so quickly. And we're trying to manifest and bring up that higher vibration so that we can get him off medication. And then there are also certain diets that you can then add in, which other countries try before they try medication. So I was talking to someone in New Zealand. They were like, before they put you on medication, they would try this diet. Did they not do that with you? I was like, no, we would just give him medication. So we basically want to strip things back, but it could take up to like another year or more to get him off medication. But we're on this journey, and it's a much more positive energy journey. And we're just really hopeful that when we get him off fully off medication, we can see where we're at and do some positivity for him. So
how does that work with having little ones? Because I mean, that must make it really difficult for you.
It's really scary at times. So there are really, really hard times. There's a really hard time last week. It was really one of the terrifying moments. So when Sam has partial seizures, and particularly because he's coming off medication there, he has slightly less control because he's still working through it. And we were in a car park, and we were coming out of, the kids had an acrobatics class. So my oldest is 5 and my youngest is 3, and then they're in the same class for acrobatics. We came out, we're in the car park, which is really busy, parents dropping kids off, picking up. And my son didn't want to walk. He wanted daddy to carry him, which, should be fine. But Sam starts having a partial seizure, but his reaction is to hold on to Montgomery because he's trying to keep him safe, but he can't control himself. I'm trying to stop my 3-year-old in the middle of a car park, try and get Montgomery out of Sam's arms, but he's trying to look after him, but he's moving about a lot, and it was terrifying. There's a car trying to go past. My 3-year-old standing there, I can't hold her hand. Luckily, she's super good. She understands daddy's having a seizure. She knows, mummy's put me here, I'm going to stand here. Montgomery's screaming, I'm screaming. There's a woman behind going like, are you okay? Like what is this situation? I'm like, he's having a seizure. Just give me a second. And he's out of it in like 15 seconds. But it's like the scariest 15 seconds because you don't know what's going to happen next. Is it going to turn into a grand mal? But my children are amazing. So Montgomery, he's 5 and, he understands what's going on. He's had to live with it his whole life. But it is always a tricky situation, but that's why I'm always there. I'm always there with them. They never get to be, it's really sad for Sam because he's the best dad. Like, he loves his children. He plays games, does the Lego. He's always really active with them. And in one way, it's great because he is always there because he can't go out and do a normal job. I am his full-time carer. And if I have to go out and do something, we have to rely on my parents quite a lot. So even if Sam's there, my parents still have to come round to like look after Sam, looking after the kids, which I think for him is like the hardest.
Yes.
As a parent.
Could you not get a medical detection dog?
Yeah, so we are genuinely interested in that, and we're basically at the moment we're hoping to move to France. So the house is up for sale, and we want to move somewhere with like a lot of land, and then we'd like to get a dog and hope that, because we're looking at Samoyeds because apparently they're really good with epilepsy. So
well, yeah, but I think the medical detection dogs, they actually train dogs for you, so they would train a dog for you,
which we would really, really love. Would be like. Yeah, it would be amazing.
They're absolutely brilliant. I mean, I should put you in touch with them because I've worked a lot with them. But they are absolutely, and they use all different sorts of dogs as well. Or they can train a dog that you get, and they'll train it.
Debbie, how does that work? What do the dogs pick up on scent, or what? How does that
these guys are trained. I mean, they honestly, they'd help people with diabetes, they help people with epilepsy, they help people with all different sorts of things, and it's so clever, incredibly clever to watch them. I mean, I've been down there and seen it, and you guys should come down and have a look at it. And also these dogs also sniff, they're the cancer dogs as well, so they train the cancer dogs and they also train the medical detection dogs to help people with epilepsy and diabetes and all of this lot. But there was a girl who was one of their sort of if you like clients, and she was, every night of her life her parents would literally be up half the bloody night because she had a monitor on and it would go off, or they were terrified that she would die in her sleep because of her blood sugar levels, and she went to hospital almost every single night of her life. She had to go to hospital, and they got a medical detection dog, and she hasn't been since, because the dog goes and wakes her parents up the minute her blood sugar level drops, and they come in, they give her insulin, and she's fine.
Do you know, I remember, Debbie, you saying to Francesca before about medical detection dog, but I think should we try and link up about that?
Yeah,
That's a really good idea.
But the thing is, you guys, where do you live?
Just came up, and I was like, oh no, can you hear?
I wondered whereabouts you live.
I'm in Suffolk, so I'm near Bury St Edmunds.
Okay, well, what we should do is we'll link up
yes,
after the show, and you guys should come and see them, because they are incredible dogs, incredible. And they work. It's like so when they're actually training them, Natalie, what they do is it's like a photograph that they're giving of, but it's actually a scent photograph. So you have to give, I think it's your saliva and your breath every sort of like 5 minutes, and the dog notices the difference between the smell of your breath and the saliva, and your skin. So when the dog actually meets you, so they'll be doing this, they'll take all these samples from you. So when the dog actually meets you for the first time, it knows you by your smell completely.
Wow.
And they'll know the minute that you're having a seizure, because you change. That smell's not the same anymore.
How fabulous.
So that's why, but they can, it's usually half an hour or even an hour before. They can tell you when it's going to happen. So you can be in a place that you can actually lie down and wait for it. And then the seizure is over, so that you can move.
Wow. Francesca, we're going to make this happen, darling. We're going to make it happen.
I think that could revolutionize your lives.
Yeah, it would be such an amazing thing. It's definitely something we would be interested in, definitely.
Oh, Francesca, it has been so wonderful listening to you. We wish you so much luck with
let us know what happens.
Yeah,
I know. You don't need to, because we know you're going to win.
Yeah, we all know, darling. We all know.
Before I do disappear, can I just say what my book Greek Secret, which is the one that's been shortlisted, is in the Children in Read auction. So if anyone would like to go and bid on it, it's all the money raised goes to children in need. You can bid on books, they're signed and dedicated. So just Google it, and it's an amazing way to raise money for children in need. So have a look at Greek Secrets on there. So that's the one that's been shortlisted. So if anyone's interested in grabbing a signed copy, they can also raise money, because I'm donating it for children in need. So have a look at that as well.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Amazing, isn't she?
I need to do a bit more manifesting. That's it now. I'm going to manifest.
We're going to manifest the Wonderbirds. I'd actually like to manifest the Wonderbirds in the studio, so we could all be together instead of being on Zoom. I think that would be much nicer. So that's, if we all have a positive manifestation together, it'll work. It's true.
Absolutely right.
For Caddy, though, she might have to have a studio of her very own. She's so busy.
You could build me a studio.
Her in.
Exactly. Before we go, darling, I had wings on the other night at the ball, and I fell over twice. Flat on my face on the
Didn't matter. You flew into a flying position again immediately.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.